I'd like to introduce Jennifer Juarez. She is a new member of our committee, and just want to welcome her, and glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
With that, I guess we'll move into public comment. Ray, did we have any?
Yes, Aaron Vanoy.
Okay.
Feel the love already. Good morning, Aaron Vanoy, Director of Planning and Development Services. Just wanted to give you all some general comments. Today we have a lot of plats on our agenda. Plats are a unique thing where by state law, if they meet our ordinances, whether that's by variance or by meeting the rule as applied, then we have to approve them by right. We can't deny them. You will see probably from the reports, we have actually changed some of our slides as we go through, and our staff will be pointing some of those things out. We've changed our slides as we've worked with our engineering services, operations, street and bridge, stormwater to come more into an alignment of trying to work with our applicants as well as trying to protect the community around these applications where they are. And so you'll see some stuff maybe in your background information that we may have moved our decision a little bit, just a tad, but I just wanted to give you all that information up front that it is a working thing that we continue to strive to work for our community as well as the applicants. Nobody within our organization wants to prohibit development or slow development down. We want to continue it and keep it moving, and sometimes that's where conflict can arise, and we're trying to make sure that we're trying to be consistent and predictable so that developers, those that want to do things, know where the city might land on a subject. So just wanted to give you all that information ahead of time, and thank you all for being here this morning.
Thank you, Aaron. Ray, do we have any other public comment? Okay. I'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. The commission may request for a consent agenda item to be moved to the regular agenda for presentation and public comment. Otherwise, the consent agenda will be considered in one vote. All items on the consent agenda have been recommended for approval by staff with no opposition received to date. Since some items on the consent agenda may require a public hearing, the commission will accept public comment on any items on the consent agenda in one public hearing. It looks like the only thing on the consent agenda this month is our minute meetings, our meeting minutes, sorry.
I move to approve.
All right, got a motion to approve by Candy.
Second.
And a second by Brittany. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so with that, we'll move into the regular agenda. First case is a right-of-way and alleyway abandonment. City Council has final authority for approval on abandonments. First right-of-way is ROW 2506, 1900 block of Coberland Street. A request to abandon an unimproved portion of the street right-of-way measuring 60 feet by 100 feet south of the intersection of Montague Avenue and Coberland Street.
Thank you. Austin Reed, Senior Planner. This one comes to you out of the Fort Concho East neighborhood. It is District Number 4, Patrick Healy's district. The zoning here is RS1, the vision plan is neighborhood. And as you said, we have a request for approval of the abandonment of a portion of street right-of-way. Mailed out 21 notices on this, received 7 in favor from the applicants surrounding properties, and none who were opposed. If you look at this map, you might think the abandonment is actually a lot. It's actually just a stubbed out portion of what would be Montague Avenue. On to our analysis, the area measures 60 feet by 100 feet, and like I said, it's a stubbed out portion of what would be Montague. It's important to note that no portion of this abandonment has ever been improved or used for access for any other lots. There is one city sewer main within the area which will require an easement when they go to plat and incorporate that abandonment. But overall, we don't think that it would affect traffic patterns, the environment, or surrounding owners. So with that, we are recommending approval of the abandonment subject to 3 conditions, pretty standard 3 conditions. First one will be that payment shall be remitted for all the abandoned right-of-way. 2 is to record a replat within 2 years. As part of this replat, they do need to dedicate that sewer easement that I was talking about. And then number 3 being just for the quitclaim deed. Do you guys have any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Austin? All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Austin. We have public comment on that.
Russell Gully.
All right. Morning, Russell.
Good morning, Russell with SKG. Would ask for your approval of this abandonment as requested, and happy to answer any questions. And we're just kind of cleaning up an area that's really undeveloped so that the applicant can kind of get a replat and construct a home in that area.
All right. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Russell? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment?
Joe, did you still want to talk? No. Okay, no.
Okay. So I'll close public comment and open it up for discussion or a motion from the group.
Make a motion to approve as presented. I'll second.
A motion by Brittany and a second by Lyndon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. So next item is conditional uses. The Planning Commission has final authority for approval of conditional uses. Appeals may be directed to City Council. First case is CU 2516, 2452 Douglas Drive, a request for approval of a conditional use to utilize an existing single-family residence as a gathering place and provide faith-based engagement opportunities for young people located at 2452 Douglas Drive.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner.
Good morning.
And this is a conditional use. They are requesting to have a faith-based gather place for their ASU branch from the Catholic Diocese. It is zoned single-family residential. It is District 5, Karen Hesse Smith in the ASU College Hills neighborhood. We did send out 13 notices. We received 1 in favor and 2 opposed. The 1 opposed you have in your packet is this one down here. She mentioned the traffic. And then the other opposed we received after your packet was published, and he is here to speak also. I just wanted to show some pictures. So the bottom one, Douglas Drive, does have a light, which should help with some of the traffic. I did the top left corner because the house, I'm going to go back for a second. Oh, I can do that one. The green star, the house behind them, they already use this house. It has a current conditional use for the same thing. They are trying to expand to this other house that they own. So I included that picture to show you they do have parking, and so one of the conditions we have is that they come forward with a development plan or parking lot permit so they can show us some of the parking. So with that, staff is recommending approval, again, that they provide us with a development plan or parking lot permit, and that they obtain all required permits. I believe they need a change of occupancy. Is there any questions?
Do you have any questions for Ray? All right, thank you, Ray. Go ahead and open up public comment.
Richard Brown.
Do I give a handout to everybody? Yes. I got plenty.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm fully aware of the three-minute limit, so I'll try to comply. My name is Richard Brown. I live at, go ahead.
I was just going to remind the chairman that as opposed, I think, and you are one of
Yes.
the neighbors, I think they would have up to the 5-minute limit based on your discretion, of course.
Okay. Okay, if I can have 5, I'll make a couple of comments about the parking lot after my prepared notes.
Sounds good.
Okay, so Richard Brown, I live at 2454 Douglas. I'm the next door neighbor. What I've handed out is the planning staff report that was published last week. I just copied it. And I have inserted my comments in blue under each one of the 6 factors that are supposed to be considered when you make a change like this. And I'm just going to read through my comments. Number 1, impacts minimized. The adverse effects have been documented. The Newman Center started using the residential property for meeting and gathering in 2022 and I documented the negative effect on property values with the Tom Green County Appraisal District in June 23. Even now, while applying for a zoning change, the property is unmown in areas, overgrown in others, and has a dilapidated fence that has needed repair since 2024. The picture of the backyard that was just shown is not current. Go drive by today, it's all overgrown and the fence is falling down. Safety and security. Students have access to the Newman Center with key code entry. What kind of access will they have to 2452 Douglas, and how will that access be supervised? My observations of the meeting and gathering at 2452 over the past years suggest some informal access. Consistent with zoning ordinance. 1, conflicts include degradation of property values, potential safety and security issues, and the creation of a new development pattern. A parking lot or new building at 2452 Douglas would constitute a new development pattern, as there are no mixed-use facilities on Douglas or south into Bryant Park, compatible with surrounding area. No, the institutional and student-related buildings mentioned in the staff report are all limited to Dina. Bryant Park is a single-family residential neighborhood from Douglas south. The proposed change breaks the decades-long historical boundary of having multi-use buildings all facing ASU and on Dina Drive. Effect on natural environment. Negative effects are probable. The planning staff report mentions future parking lot permits and development plans. Loss of lawn and trees, addition of paved parking lot, more traffic, more noise, more exhaust fumes, more nighttime security lights. 5, community need. No significant need has been demonstrated. May, as in may represent, quoted directly from the planning staff report, is not indicative of an existing need, but of possibility or opportunity. No existing or significant need has been demonstrated that would justify exceptions to the single-family dwelling requirements. If there were a need, ASU has world-class resources: student center, library, cafeteria, dorms, classrooms, parking lots, Center for Human Performance, academic buildings, and so forth. Stevens Chapel is open 365 days a year, and their website says the chapel is open for events. 6 is development patterns. No, there is no mix of institutional, residential, and student-related activities on Douglas Drive and into Bryant Park. The character of Bryant Park is single-family residential homes. The only area that includes a mix of institutional, residential, and student-related activities is Dina Drive. Please keep them on Dina Drive. Allowing the first mixed-use building south of Dina completely changes decades of history on Douglas and in Bryant Park, so it should be considered a new pattern of development and the zoning change rejected. So a couple of quick comments on the parking lot, because as I researched this over the past few days and documented the deterioration of the backyard, it's obvious that they want that backyard for the parking lot. So I think that's what this is really all about. If their parking lot, they have a parking lot in front of the Newman Center and a parking lot behind the Newman Center, if that's occasionally full for 2 hours on one day of a week, I don't think that justifies making an exception to the single-family residence zoning law, because there's plenty of parking lots to the north. The biology building, the science building has a huge parking lot. It's always empty on the weekends. There's a public school, an elementary school across Johnson. It's empty on the weekends. They can park over there. The school kids walk across Johnson in the crosswalk all the time. So their parking lot may fill up occasionally, but I don't think that warrants what's been asked for here. Thank you. Any questions for me? I'm happy to answer questions.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Brown?
Today, do you have any, because of the Newman Center that's across the alleyway, and you being so close in your residence, do you have any parking issues? Do you hear a lot of cars, a lot of kids? Do you have a lot of distractions because of the Newman behind you?
Well, I've walked over there and complained to them about their security lights, because they send them out horizontally, and they did make, their credit, they made some adjustments, but it's very bright. The alley fills up sometimes. It's not illegal to, it's okay to park in the alley as long as there's still a pass through. I see the kids in the front yard. I see the kids in the backyard. It's the degradation. It's not that I'm bothered 24/7. It's that I don't really want to park. We're talking about a new parking lot that's across from my backyard, and that will significantly change what's going on. And I don't see any need for it. I mean, when I drove down this morning, there were 4 cars in the Newman Center parking lot. And if you drive down Dina, and I'd ask everybody on the way home today, drive down Dina. It's bad. I'm embarrassed for ASU. And if I were ASU, I'd do some work with the folks on Dina to try and bring things up a little bit. But that's partly because of ASU, but that's where you've got these mixed use buildings. They're not on Douglas.
Yeah.
And so I just, once we make the exception, what else, then Douglas becomes the new Dina over time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. We have any other public comment?
No, nobody else signed up.
Okay. We'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up for discussion with the group.
Well, I'm very familiar with this particular corner over years and years and years, and I understand about Dina. If you've ever driven around Dina, it is, some of the houses are kept really nice and some have some real issues, and there's always cars. To have a second street like that, especially as nice as Douglas is as far as older homes, Bryant Park is known for those kind of properties. It bothers me a little bit for if this is just about a parking lot. My comment.
And so directing towards the staff as far as the conditional use on this, they have to have on-site parking, and how many spaces is required or are required?
So we would have to see a floor plan, or I'd need a square footage of the house in order to get that, but it would fall under 1 space per 500
Sorry, 1 space per 500 square feet.
And that house probably has, what, 21? It's pretty big, maybe a little more than that.
But the max 5 parking spots, I think.
So, and can that be included on street parking? Like, or does that actually have to be on site?
50% can be on street.
I'm just gonna look up the square footage real quick while we're. Okay, so the home, not including the garage, is 2262 square feet, and you said 1 space per 500,
It'd be 4.
so 4.5 spaces. And can you go back to the frontage? How many, or where's the driveway
The driveway's on the side.
from the side? Okay. Okay, and that's a single car or double car?
It's a double car. It's a double garage.
So does that count as 4 spaces then, since you can fit 4 cars on the driveway?
And 2 in front. It looks like I see
The
one.
garage states at 650 square feet, so it would be larger than a single.
If you look at the overhead and you see that red outline, the red outline is the property line. So the challenge A is Johnson is an arterial, lots of traffic. The driveway portion is actually in the right-of-way, which most driveways are. And so really the only way to legally count parking there would be inside the garage, which that would probably be 2 spaces. I think the intent would be to add parking in the alleyway. However, that may not be the best option, because there could be some options in the front. Again, there could be on-street parking. There could be a shared parking agreement, as Mr. Brown suggested, because if they do have that adjacent property on Dina, there probably should be an analysis by the property owner of, all right, how often is it full? How often do you need adjacent parking to improve this, or is it really just another meeting space that they're able to walk over to? Now, the change of occupancy through building permits will trigger a parking analysis. And we should look at that and see how that impacts adjacent properties. Particularly as you say, Ms. Poole, you're looking at older homes into the neighborhood, and obviously this is right on Johnson. It is adjacent to ASU and some other properties there. It's borderline on that mixed use. Ray, do you recall what the vision plan, the comprehensive plan is for along Johnson Street? Is it? Neighborhood? Okay. So this would be probably the highest intensity that we would ever want to go through this process. If it's to be neighborhood, it should be something that mixes with the neighborhood.
So if the issue isn't necessarily the usage of the single-family home, it's more of the parking, again, I think that if we have a parking analysis, maybe potentially look at a circle drive, which would allow for easier egress, when people are leaving. But, again, with ASU being a fairly tight-knit community, and as Mr. Brown said, a lot of the time that parking lot across the way is not filled, you would assume that a lot of the members attending would be most likely walking from the dorms or from other potential rentals fairly close to the vicinity. So, I don't think it's unreasonable for us to look at the parking situation as far as a joint parking agreement. What else can we do instead of taking the backyard into a parking lot? Can we do a circle drive? Will the permits department allow that? And will that give us sufficient parking to meet the city's guide on one space per 500 square feet?
And speaking of using the Newman parking and it be sometimes not full and having that back alleyway as part of their parking, and I go to College Hills Baptist Church and I'm there a lot up and down Johnson, and I don't think in the last 6 months I've seen any car utilizing the driveway of Douglas. And if they own both buildings or both properties, the kids could easily use that driveway for extra parking even today. I don't see that happening as many times as I'm up and down that street. That's one of the reasons I'm used to this. Crockett was a school for my kids, so I was up and down that street during those years. The thing that bothers me the most is taking the back alleyway and making the backyard a parking. I personally don't want to see that unless there's some way, like we're hearing, that they could do something else, like a circle drive, to eliminate starting something that would go down Douglas. And that's what I would not want to see. I would not want to see Douglas look like Dina. At this point, Dina had no choice. It outlines ASU. And I'm glad we have that for the students. In many cases, they're rental houses. Those are some of my comments. I don't see any cars utilizing what could be almost 4 spaces in that driveway.
This being a conditional use, you do have the ability to place conditions on your motion. And just taking from what you said, it sounds like you would prefer a condition of no additional parking in the backyard of this property. So that could be a condition that you add to this case, if that's something y'all consider.
So that would just force the applicant to go back to the city and look at another parking
Correct.
situation. Okay. All right. Can we bring up staff recommendations, please? Okay. I will move forward with a motion to approve item 2, but I would like to put a condition on the building that we look at alternative parking other than the backyard being turned into a parking lot.
So you're recommending no additional parking be added?
In the back. If it turns into a circle drive, I think that's A-okay, especially because I think that's extremely dangerous to be backing out onto,
But not on the backyard.
but not on the backyard. Is that clear enough?
Okay. All right, so we have a motion.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
All right, so we have, motion passes with Candy voting in opposition, 5-1. Thanks, Aaron, I needed help with that. We I think I need to read then the next case, correct?
Yes.
LC Gayer.
Yes, go ahead and read it in.
Okay, so moving on to subdivision plats, the planning commission has final authority for approval. Appeals may be directed to city council. First case is FP 25-14, the El Seguer, Section 2. Request for a final plat of 136 lots over 47.288 acres within the Baptist Memorial Retirement Community as to individually subdivide each home or structure. A request for approval of a variance for incremental half of paving width on North Main Street, and a request for approval of a variance for right-of-way and paving widths on all internal local streets.
The applicant has requested to withdraw this case, so it has been removed.
Okay, do we need to take any action on that? So that case has been withdrawn by the applicant. We will move on to FP 2516, Southland Hills Edition, Section 25. A request to final plat Southland Hills Edition, Section 25, being 4.314 acres under a planned development PD 2203 zoning district located approximately east of Stone Canyon Trail and south of Forest Hill Drive.
If you can read the next one in also,
Oh,
please.
and yeah, we'll read in the next case as well, FP 2517, Southland Hills, Section 26. A request to final plat Southland Hills Edition, Section 26, being 5.214 acres under a planned development PD 2203 zoning district located south of Forest Hills Drive and east of Walnut Hill Drive.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner again. So this is two different plats that one is along this side and then the other one is over here. They are 4.314 acres and 5.214 acres. You've probably seen this before. We have had a final plat for both of these before in the past. They've been approved. However, they were not recorded. They have moved some of the lots from Section 25. There was one more line over here, and they have put it on Section 26. So it is under a PD zoning. It is District 1, Tommy Hebert, the Bonham neighborhood. And so again, this is Section 25. The lots meet the PD requirement. And this is Section 26. So with that, staff is recommending approval on Section 25. They need to install the water main and the sewer main, do a drainage study, and then the street construction for Walnut Drive and Valley Pine. And then staff is recommending approval on Section 26 with the same conditions of installing a water main, a sewer main, a drainage study, and then the required streets. Is there any questions? Russell
Open up
Gully.
Public comment.
Russell with SKG. As Ray indicated, we're just moving some of the lots from Section 5 over to Section 26. It just kind of helps some timing of some stuff and the phasing of the street construction. So we just kind of ask for your approval of 25 and 26 as presented, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? All right, so I'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up for discussion or a motion from the group.
Make a motion to approve as presented by staff.
Got a motion by Brittany on, we need to do two separate?
Yeah,
Oh,
do two separate. since it's
Okay.
Okay, I'll
separate
make
final
a
plans.
motion to approve section 25 as presented by staff, and I'll make a second motion to approve section 26 as presented by staff.
I'll second both.
Okay. Have a motion and a second by Candy and Brittany for section 25 and section 26. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Both motions pass 6-0. All right, moving on to FP 2518, Arden Heights, Section 1, a request to final plat for 12 new residential lots as part of Arden Heights, Section 1. These lots span 9.141 acres and will be located along Navidad Street, a local road coming off of Bosk Drive, a new minor collector. Austin. Oh, sorry. We'll get there. All right, next case. In addition to number 4, this is the FP 2519, Arden Heights, Section 2, a request of final plat for 13 new residential lots as part of Arden Heights, Section 2. These lots span 8.445 acres and will be located along Natchez Street, a new local road coming off of Bosk Drive, a new minor collector. Now you can go, Austin.
Thank you, Austin Reed, Senior Planner. This is a pair of plats for the Arden Heights subdivision. It's within a newly annexed area of town, up there north of Arden Road and off of 2288. This first one, Section 1, is a final plat for 12 lots over about 9.1 acres. This is within District Number 6. It's technically within the Bluffs neighborhood. The zoning here is mostly RS1, and the vision plan holds it as neighborhood. So here's a look at the plat itself. You can see all of these lots are located off of that Navidad Street, that new local road, which has a temporary turnaround at the end, and it connects back to Bosk Drive, that new minor collector, which goes back to 2288. Most of these lots are somewhere in the 100 by 200 foot range. Section 2 is a final plat for 13 lots over 8.4 acres. Again, the same district, neighborhood, zoning, and vision plan. If you can look at this plat, it's configured mostly the same. Lots are generally the same size, and it also connects back to that Bosk Drive, and it has a temporary turnaround as well. They dedicated the correct amounts of right-of-way. There's no variances attached to these, so we are recommending approval subject to 7 conditions. First one being for the construction of that local road to 40 feet or to 36 feet with a sidewalk. Second one is for the construction of Bosk Drive, that minor collector. Third one for water main and required service connections. 4 is for the drainage study. 5 is for a fire hydrant and fire department access statement on the plat. 6 is a temporary turnaround required at 750 feet into Bosk Drive as required by a certain section within our LDSO. And then number 7 is just a provision that temporary turnarounds have to reference a recorded document allowing public access or be dedicated as right-of-way. Do you guys have any questions?
So again, temporary turnaround, we're going with Caliche base. We're not asking for a development agreement or hold back or anything like that.
I believe that should suffice. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has anything to say about that. But
We're reading the city engineer's mind right now.
Sorry, Kevin. Pardon?
Morning, Kevin Pate, city engineer.
Morning.
Temporary turnarounds are provided for public access. Public access is considered safe if the roads are built to standard. A Caliche base is not to standard. It may be okay for fire safety, but it's really not good for public access. So I would recommend that the pavement be per standard.
On the temporary turnaround?
Yes, ma'am.
What if the developer is planning on, within 6 months, building a road that hits at the 750 feet? Again, we've gone over and over this on multiple other cases. Southland Hills was the same thing, just adding additional cost on a development that is going to be built out fairly quickly.
The ordinance accommodates that in a section called phased development, which allows for the construction of that temporary turnaround, which then is modified to be permanent turnaround at the time that the street is continued on through. So it's a mitigation of that cost.
Okay. Is the applicant here?
Anybody have any more questions? All right, thank you.
And Russell Gully.
I'll go ahead and open up for public comment, by the way.
Russell with SKG. So, the turnaround thing, we understand the ordinance talks about the permanent potential for them. So we're kind of working through the nuances now of how we deal with those. And so with developers, we may pave the permanent middle part of it and then do something temporary on the wings with asphalt or financially guarantee it. We'll work through that with engineering. So we understand the need and how they want those done. So we'll work with engineering. The item 6 was kind of threw me for a loop on that one, but we'll work through with the fire department to figure out. I think we may just figure out where a good curb cut lay down section would be to where we could kind of do a modified hammerhead there to kind of meet what a turnaround need would be for that on Bosque. So I think they're all reasonable and some things we can work through on that. So we'd be happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do I have any more questions for Russell? Thank you, Russell.
Another twofer. We're trying to get 2 and done. And thank you.
Sorry, I did have one more slide for section 2. Oh,
Sorry.
you want to go?
Been interrupted one more time.
all yours.
Sorry. What Russell described is very acceptable for city engineering.
Okay, thank you.
Section 2, it's very similar, 7 conditions again. First one for the construction of that local road, second one for the construction of that minor collector, 3 for the water main required service connections, 4 for the drainage study, 5 for that same fire statement. 6 is a temporary turnaround on Netchess this time, and then number 7 is that same provision about the temporary turnarounds. So, thanks.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else down for public comment?
Rocky, did you want to talk? Nope. Nope, we are good.
Okay. Go ahead and close public comment and open it up for further discussion amongst the group or motion.
I'll motion to approve FP 2518 and then motion to approve FP 2519.
Second.
So I have a motion from Patrick for FP 2518 and 2519 to approve as presented, and a second by Brittany. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Both subdivision plats pass 6-0. Next case is FP 2520, Saddle Creek Park Addition, Section 3. A request to final plat Saddle Creek Park Addition, Section 3, being .84 acres, creating 7 lots for single-family homes located east of the corner of Travis Street and Lakeview Heroes Drive.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner. So this one is out on Lakeview Heroes Drive, and Travis Street is up this way. The final plat is .84 acres. It is RS1 zoning, and it is in District 2, Joseph, and Lakeview neighborhood. The city limits is right here on this line. This is the final plat. It is creating 7 lots. And I included this one because one of the conditions is they have to add this access easement. The Lakeview Hero Drive is an arterial, and you cannot have a drive access off of it. So they cannot have driveways off the front. So this is showing an access easement for all of them to have the driveways in the back. So with that, staff is recommending approval. They do have 3 conditions: to submit plans for a water main, a sewer main, and again, to revise the plat to include that access easement. And then the note is that they cannot have the access off the arterial in the front of the houses. Is there any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Ray? I've got one question on the rear setback requirement. Where does the measurement for that start? The edge of the access easement, or is it?
It would be middle of the access easement back. It's treated similar to an alleyway.
And that's 20 feet.
I think it would be from the property line.
From the property line.
Since it's not a dedicated alley,
Oh,
it's
that
a
is true.
access easement just for those lots. We believe it would be at the property line. Currently, it's RS1. If their housing fits that, that's great. If they struggle, we would look at maybe RS3 or an RM1 that might help modify some of the setbacks. Unfortunately, it's too small for a planned development that could modify the setbacks. So, but in theory, the further forward you move those, because you've got a very large right-of-way, and then you have 25 feet from the front property line, there's a lot of front yard that's probably not going to be used. And, you know, homeowners like backyards, so if you're able to move those structures forward through some mechanism, that's not with the plat, but as another process, if that becomes needed by the developers, the city would be open to looking at finding solutions for that.
Okay.
Yeah, because it looks like lot 13, I mean, the buildable area, I mean, because they've got such a wide setback on the sides and the front, that's going to
So
be.
it's a double frontage.
Yeah, a lot of challenge there. So we think there may be some other mechanisms if they wanted to, if they're not able to fit their houses. Looks like their design right now might do that, but we're happy to explore that with them and find some viable ways if they need that.
Just out of curiosity, on the double frontage to Travis, can the lot 13, can the driveway be off Travis instead of off the alley or easement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any more questions for staff? All right. We'll go ahead and open up public comment.
Erica Wilde.
Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Erica Wilde with Wilde Engineering and Surveying. We just asked that you approve as presented. We were able to make this kind of work. We're going to use the front area for a little bit different idea for some detention. We're going to use some kind of a rain gardens. So that's kind of what we're using the front area for. We're going with a smaller yard scenario. That's kind of what the developer wants to use. So this is kind of what they're wanting to do. The alley up there, as you see, is actually dedicated to those properties to the north, which was unfortunate, but was done. So that's why we've got the access easement in the rear there. But I'm here for any questions if you got any.
Any questions for Erica? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, so I'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up for discussion with the group.
Can we put the staff recommendations back up, please? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve as presented by staff.
Okay, so I have a motion by Brittany and a second by Candy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 6-0. All right. Next case is FP 2522, Nauman Edition, Section 2, Lot 1. A request of final plat creating one lot over 11.98 acres in the light manufacturing ML zoning district, as well as a variance request for paving and curb and gutter along East 28th Street and a variance request not to construct a new local road.
Thank you. Austin Reed, Senior Planner. Request for one lot over about 12 acres, District Number 4, Patrick Healy's District, Pauline neighborhood. The zoning here is mostly manufacturing. This one is light manufacturing, and the vision plan is neighborhood for some reason. Here's a look at the plot itself. As you can see, it's just one big lot, 11.98 acres. It's cut out of a much bigger tract, which is still in abstract. On the left-hand side there, you may see a little bit of right-of-way that's dedicated for a new local road that should come north off of East 28th Street. So a couple variance requests attached to this one. East 28th there is actually a minor arterial. Right now, as you can see from that picture, it's paved at about 18 feet wide, whereas 48 feet would be that required standard. Therefore, they'd be required to pave their incremental half, which comes out to about an additional 15 feet to bring it to 33 total. They have requested a full variance to stay at the existing width of 18 feet. Staff, however, would recommend a partial variance just to bring it to that minimum 26 feet with curb and gutter. The right-of-way there is 40 feet right now, whereas 68 feet would be that standard, so they'd be required to dedicate that additional 14 feet. The second variance is for that new road that I talked about. Right now, of course, it's currently unbuilt, but the standard would require them to bring it to 26 feet. They have again requested a full variance to not build that road. The right-of-way on it as well is dedicated at 26 feet, but we would prefer at least 31 feet as to allow a little bit of right-of-way on their side. We would also ask that the right-of-way is dedicated on the east side of their property rather than the west, because we seem to think that the road would work better on that side. With that, we are recommending approval of the final plat subject to 8 conditions and 1 note, partial approval of that variance on East 28th Street, and then approval of a variance to not construct that new road while still requiring a deferral through a developer's agreement. So the conditions are as follows. Number 1 is for the incremental half of that paving on East 28th Street. Number 2 is for the right-of-way on East 28th Street. Number 3 is for the construction of that new local road. Number 4 is for the right-of-way on that local road and to relocate it to the eastern property boundary. 5 and 6 are for the water and sewer mains. Number 7 is for the drainage study, and then number 8 is for that fire statement. Do you guys have any questions?
Do you have any questions for Austin? All right, thank you,
Thanks.
Austin. Do we have any public comment?
So the applicant didn't send a representative?
No, they're from out of town.
Okay, so I'll close public comment and open it up for discussion for the planning commission.
I do have a few questions, again, going back to the whole curb and gutter. One, I mean, it's in, what, ML or MH zoning. Traditionally, in those areas that were far out, does a culvert is that not sufficient for drainage? I mean, because again, like, what type of curb are we talking about? Are we talking about standing curb? Are we talking about a rollover curb? Like, what is the city's requirement of this specific property owner? Because again, I understand the width of the road's very narrow, especially if there's large transport trucks going down, but I also feel like it could be a safety issue once we get one section of the road a little wider and then have some sort of curb that, again, lack of streetlights or anything else out there on a safety aspect at night. So do we know what we're requiring as far as the type of curbing? Is it a standing curb? Is it a roll curb?
I think the current ordinance would be a standing curb. I see our city engineers coming to probably give us a little more better description than what I can.
I think in this particular instance, what's called a ribbon curb would probably be more appropriate.
Okay.
It's not that the curb out here as a stand-up would not be for drainage. Curbs provide some drainage, water conveyance, but primarily curbs keep the structure of the road together.
Sure.
No curbs, everything ravels, like you see all the potholes on the edges. Potholes grow towards the middle and go down the street that way. So that's why we really like curb and gutter.
Got it. Okay.
It does help with a little bit of drainage. And this particular road, although it's classified as a minor arterial, it's out in the middle of nowhere, it's going nowhere. So you might consider that in your deliberations.
My other question for staff is it was notated, but the vision plan is neighborhood. Is that something that we're going to be looking at as a future, like to clean that up and because obviously it doesn't necessarily make sense that it's future thorough plans considered neighborhood.
We believe through our comprehensive plan update that's a significant area that we're going to be looking at. And so we do think it will be cleaned up in that area because most of that area is really projected to be more industrial, particularly with the rail port close, the interstate on that side, and those types of large tracts that are undeveloped that may be a much more industrial area.
Okay.
Could you pull back up the conditions? Anybody have any more questions for staff on this, or want to see another slide again? Everybody understand what we're doing?
Can we go back to, somebody had mentioned that you guys would be potentially okay with half of the portion, right? Could you just repeat that so if we're trying to read something in, we get it correct?
Yeah, it was on the East 28th Street. They requested a full variance just to stay at that 18 feet, but we are recommending approval of a partial variance just to bring it to 26, again with that curb and gutter that we just discussed.
And that's the minimum road width required by fire, or that's
Typically.
Our current land development and subdivision ordinance is 26 feet minimum for any road. We do rely on our emergency services at times, what is acceptable. In this case, it's challenging to predict the rate of growth out here, and so we certainly understand that. We also know that the proposed development will have initially large trucks coming and going while they're in development. Now, after that, that may not be the case. It may be very low traffic volume after that point. But we are at least trying to recommend our minimum within our land development subdivision ordinance.
So East 28th Street will be the main road, I guess, to get into this property that they're...
It is the only road coming off of Armstrong in this area. There's no north-south roads.
Okay.
So it's very large tract areas that are just maybe waiting for development as additional utilities come in, although there is a water main in the area along 28th Street. But you can see the large tracts there that someday there could be growth, but we also think that's also a more industrial area. As you can see on this map, just barely, this is where the East Angelo draw is. And so we all know the impacts of that over the last few months. And so that's one of the reasons to move the local road from being right in the bottom of the East Angelo draw over to the other side. So just some technical things in there. We are in favor of deferring the construction of that local road because while we want access, we want the properties to the north to have access at some point. We're not sure that the construction of the road right now makes a lot of sense. And so, again, this is some of those challenging things that we're trying to predict the future and say, all right, are we being fair to all the properties around as well as the applicant, trying to make sure that we're growing at the appropriate development requirements.
Thanks, Darren.
On the deferral of the construction of that road, is that recorded with the plat, or how do we memorialize that so that?
Yes, it is recorded with the plat.
Okay.
And
So
then, yes.
If
So
that, in the future, there is some type of recourse that the city would have to make sure that that street gets built to the property owner.
yes, and we would evaluate with the city engineer as they're working up the deferral. Is it based on time? Is it based on another trigger event of development? What is that time frame so that we can try to stay consistent? We would attach it to our internal land files as well so that there's, say another property to the east decides to break up. Okay, well, how does that impact this property?
That would be my biggest concern, I guess, is looking north of there and east of there, that at some point in the future, they become landlocked because the developer didn't.
That is a potential. This is just an area that doesn't have a lot of roads, and they're large tracts, and if we don't think about those things, then we could get into a landlocked situation in 20 years, and that's the hard part of trying to make decisions today for the future, but that's why we try to project out where is this area going.
So if we did a deferral on developing the new local road, the landowner to the north wants to develop his land, does that trigger anything with the deferral on this land? How does that work?
Well, that would be kind of negotiated through the legal document of what responsibilities would be for who's constructing the road. We have in our land development and subdivision ordinance that, say if it got the full variance, the person to the north would be required to build the entire road.
Right. We don't want
And in the developer agreement, there may be able to put in a 50-50 responsibility to build it to the minimum local road standards so that they have a local road to go back and forth. We do believe that based on the proposed development, the right side or the east side of the property is where their main driveway is going to be all the way to the back of the property to access it. So establishing the right-of-way, they'll be probably putting down base and other materials there for that. So there's going to be some materials there to start out with. And then when that local road comes to be realization is an evaluation by our city engineering and does this meet any of our standards or what are our standards at that time to build it?
And the deferral would just be to the time of development, right, on this property? So anytime, at the point before they can start construction, not destruction.
That is certainly the preferable method of that it's triggered to some event in the future.
Okay. Anybody have any more questions? Don't remember if I closed public comment or not, but I'll go ahead and do that. And is there any further discussion with the group? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
So the deferral to the development I just want to make sure I've got my wording right. Is that correct? Like if we deferred the local road construction, it would be deferred to a development agreement? Is that worded correctly?
Does that need to be included in the motion, or is that can that be done administratively?
It is within the ordinance already.
Okay.
We have that option to request that as opposed to doing a financial guarantee. It's kind of one of the options of a financial guarantee is to do a deferral agreement.
What does the city prefer? Because I don't know, how long does a financial agreement sit? Like, if they didn't do anything for 15 years, what happens to those funds?
So normally on the deferral agreement, it's 3 years unless we specify some time certain or event certain. Financial guarantee, I'm not
So if
sure.
nothing happens in 3 years, it just goes away and they don't have to do it?
No, I'm
or-
saying on this one, I think we would specify a different time period
Okay.
or event.
Again, we just
that
don't
would
want to get in.
trigger it, but I don't,
Correct.
y'all
We-
have to tell me what that is.
Correct. We would look at a
So this-
development event that would happen on one of the adjacent properties for them to have to construct the road at that time. We may put a time limit because you start
Sure.
getting those things that if you're over a decade long, that's difficult
Sure.
for everyone.
Right.
So, but that is something we would discuss with the applicant as we work through the deferral agreement.
Yeah.
But
So-
we don't have to classify.
No,
it.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't think you have to do it, but going along with what he was saying, we could do like the earlier of 5 years or a certain event that happens. So either way, it's limited by 5 years, or if that event happens earlier, then that's when it would happen.
Okay, but again,
So-
the staff would take care of that. We don't need to
Yes.
make that in the motion.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm probably gonna slaughter this, so, just forewarning. Okay, so I will go forward with a motion. Let's see, half of the curb and gutter of the approval of the with the approval of the partial variance with curb and gutter on 28th Street and the deferral of the development of the local road to whatever the city decides, whether it's a development agreement or a financial guarantee.
Second.
Okay, have a motion by Brittany and second by Candy. Any further discussion? So, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 6-0. Okay. Next case is RP 2520, Lakeview Addition, Block 13 and 14. A request to replat Blocks 13 and 14 of the Lakeview Addition, combining 18 lots into 2 total lots over 3.812 acres within a single-family residential RS1 zoning district, as well as a request for a partial variance on paving for Crockett Street, a request for a variance on paving for 48th Street, and a request for paving and no curb and gutter on 47th Street. Austin.
Thank you. Austin Reed, Senior Planner. This is a replat to turn 18 lots into 2 lots. It's over 3.8 acres, District Number 2, Joe Self's District, in the Lakeview neighborhood. The zoning for this area is entirely RS1, and the vision plan is neighborhood. Here's that replat. This may look familiar. It came to you as an abandonment 1 or 2 months ago. This replat seeks to incorporate that abandonment, and they're also dedicating that portion of the right-of-way, or the portion of their property that went well into the right-of-way to the south there. Here's that replat with buildings. You can see the left lot has some existing residential structures on it. The right one is currently vacant, but we presume that they'll build a residence on it. A few variance requests for this one. East 47th Street is it's actually a minor collector. Right now it's paved at anywhere from 29 to 37 feet, whereas 36 feet is that standard. Therefore, their incremental half plus curb and gutter will be required where necessary. They have requested a variance to stay at the existing condition. The right-of-way there is 60 feet, and it does meet our standard. Crockett Street, which heads north off of East 47th Street, as you can see from the picture, it's paved at somewhere around 16 feet right now, whereas 26 feet is, again, that standard. This time they've requested a partial variance to stay, to bring it to 20 feet with no curb and gutter, but the right-of-way, again, there is 60 feet, and it meets our standard. And then finally, East 48th Street is a local road, as you can see from that overhead shot. It's currently unbuilt, but 26 feet would be required. They have again requested a full variance to not construct it. The right-of-way is fine. So with that, we are recommending approval of the replat subject to 7 conditions, approval of that variance for paving and curb and gutter on East 47th Street, approval of that partial variance for 20 feet of paving with no curb and gutter on Crockett, and approval of a variance to not construct that new East 48th Street, while again requiring a deferral through a developer agreement. The conditions are as follows. Number 1 is being for that fire statement. Number 2 is to install or confirm water service for each lot. Number 3 is for the incremental half of paving on East 47th Street. Number 4 is for the construction of East 48th. 5 is for the widening of Crockett. Number 6 is for a potential water main extension and a loop through 48th Street, which can be taken care of through that developer's agreement that I talked about. And number 7 is just to verify recordation of that prior abandonment. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Austin.
Thanks.
Have any public comment? All right.
That's not public. Kevin Pate, City Engineer. This is one of those challenges that the ordinances try to address where we have, we think big developments. This is not. We've got 2 RS1 developments. Extending a water main down Crockett and further down to 47th is a $500,000 project. Constructing that road on 48th Street is probably another $300,000. 48th, that section of 48th Street would be a very low volume road. Asphalt oxidizes in the sun. If people don't drive on it, it just gets worse and worse. It would just be a maintenance burden to construct it at this time. I would recommend that condition number 6 be revised to read that water service should be supplied to both lots. We have existing water off of East 47th Street, a 12-inch main already. That's what the ordinance requires in Chapter 11, which is the provision of water to individual lots, as well as the health and safety code. We have a bit of where this comes into play is we have a section of the LDSO which speaks to developing all adjacent infrastructure. And that's great if you're Tilson Homes, maybe. But in this case, with 2 RS1 lots, I'd recommend that we not impose that.
So you would prefer, Kevin, the deferment or the financial guarantee of them dealing with the roads far beyond
Yes, ma'am.
our time? Okay. And that was of which road? 48th and Crockett?
That's for the new water line at 47th, to bring the water up there. He wants to strike it.
Is there any public comment?
Yes. Let's see. We have Rocky. Do you want to talk?
Good morning.
Morning. Rocky Templin, Senior Member District 6. The only question I had or comment was whenever y'all abandon something, y'all give it to them, vice versa. In this case, you're taking something from the buyer. And so when you do that, you're going to cause their carport to encroach in their 25-foot building setback. So it looked like at that time, if you're going to do that, then you would grant them a variance for that because you're the one causing the obstruction instead of them. Thank you.
Thanks, Rocky. Where's that on there? Can we go back to the plat view? There.
So Rocky, you're talking about the building line that'd be on that lot 17.
Correct. I believe that's what he's referencing. Is there's a carport at the very front that's got covered parking. It's an open structure. This is in the open structure overlay area. Staff will certainly look at that, and if they do need a variance, we would move that forward and be supportive of that variance. But I believe we looked at it under the open structure overlay, and being an open structure, it met the requirements. But we will double check that to be sure. So he does bring up a good point.
Okay. Is there any other public comment?
Yes. Russell Gully.
Good morning, Russell with SKG. Kind of here representing Galilee CDC. They're an adjacent property owner to the north side of 48th Street. They own multiple lots there to the north, kind of with a plan, a vision plan, working towards developing those lots is part of their program. And so, as Mr. Pate indicated, deferring the pavement till a later date, I think we would be good with that. I think maybe there could be some conversations between this developer and Galilee CDC on this, and we could come together and maybe we build the street at the same time as part of Galilee's coming in and putting lots or putting homes in on those lots, because at that point in time, then now street use increases and we're actually driving on it, and it's not just degrading out there under low traffic. So I think if there is an opportunity for some sort of deferral with a trigger of the development to the north somehow or another, I think that could be a benefit and a win for everybody. And so just ask you to take that into consideration, and if there's a way we can work through that, and at some point maybe we figure out what would be a good street width when both sides develop. Maybe we can come in and have a full 26-foot street with curb and gutter each side that really fits for the area. I know we're looking at the subdivision ordinance and street width, so we'll just kind of have that conversation through all of this stuff. So just kind of wanted to put a kind of give you a little notification about what's coming, what Galilee's planning there to the north, so we can kind of take that into consideration for this one.
Great. Thanks, Roseland.
Thank you.
Erica, did you want to talk? Stephanie, did you want to talk? Nope. Nope, you're last.
Erica, Wilde Engineering and Surveying. I'm here representing the builders as well as the buyers. As you know, or you may not know, this property has sat vacant for many, many, many years. It is unique in the fact that it's 18 lots, and it's going to be 2 residences. I ask that you please approve as presented. Definitely, of course, Russell and I will have conversations, and if we need to do, as the city had said, a deferral, we can work through that and figure that out as those get developed. So,
Erica, just to confirm, you want the deferred development of
Well,
48th and
let's go ahead and yeah,
Crockett
we'll do
till a
that.
later date when the
Yes.
backlog develops?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, any questions? Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Okay. No further comment or no further public comment, so I'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up for further discussion of the group or motion.
Chairman, I'd like to make a comment, is that this is an infill area. We certainly would support any of the applicants coming forward with infill requests, particularly when it comes to the water main for the northern lots that are not part of this plat, but are adjacent to this plat, that I would encourage us as the city to look at that strongly to see how can we make that work when the development time is right. Because there does need to be a water loop, there does have to meet certain pressures and then hydrants and things, and so that we understand that's an additional cost. We have our engineering team that can help guide us of what does it really take to service that area. Even if you add the 10 homes, is that enough water being pulled off that line to keep it fresh and reliable and things like that? And so that's always a consideration in these infill areas, and particularly lots this large that are in the infill area. But we do have, our city council has been very forward-thinking in putting infill money aside for areas like this. And so I would encourage any of the property owners to look at those options to try to secure funding for those improvements that could come forward.
Thank you.
Sorry, I said approve as presented. I would like to have Kevin Pate's number 6, what he said.
So basically on that one, it's the extension.
And he
Kevin
said
was just asking for the water to
services.
service the 2 existing
Yes.
lots.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's just
Proposed lots.
a striking of
Correct.
number 6, and it looks like number 2 satisfies the water
Okay.
service lines to those 2 created lots that they're creating through this plat.
Okay. Okay, well, I will move to make a motion to remove item 6 from the staff's recommendations. I would also like to defer the development of 48th and Crockett to a later development date when development begins to occur on those northern lots. And then if a variance is needed for the existing carport that the applicant has, that the city staff looks at it and grants that. Oh, am I
Yeah,
not supposed to do
that last part,
Sorry,
I don't
strike.
think we can, I think that would be a ZBA.
It would be a
Anything,
ZBA
yeah.
thing, but staff is aware of that, and we will move it forward if necessary.
So I'll go ahead and say, from my measurements on here, it looks like they're fine under the open structure overlay zone.
Okay.
As long as they have 20 feet of right-of-way there, they have that 5 feet that they need for the carport.
Okay, So my original motion minus the carport comment.
Okay, I have a motion by Brittany and a second by Patrick. Any further discussion? So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes 6-0. Okay, next case is RP 2521, Ellis Edition, Block 28, lots 1, 2, 15, and 16. A request to replat and absorb the abandoned alley and a portion of the street right-of-way along Vec, creating 2 lots out of the 4 located at 528 Vec.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, lead planner. This one is going to look familiar to you. You saw the abandonment last month, and now they are incorporating that abandonment. So it is a replat of .33 acres. It is RS1. The address is 528 Vec Street. It's in District 3, Harry Thomas, the Paulian neighborhood. So if you remember, the abandonment was down here, this little portion, and then also the alleyway that was going right here. So they are incorporating it and making 2 lots. And I don't really have anything else to say on that one. So staff is recommending approval with the verification of the purchasement of the abandoned alley and street right away. And back. I should have zoomed in a little bit more. There is a woodshed right on the property line right here. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. So that condition, the second condition is we need a site plan showing that that woodshed was either relocated 5 foot away from the property line or that they have added the fire separation to it.
Any questions for staff? All right, thank you, Ray. We have public comment.
Erica Wilde.
All right.
Hello again. Let me read the notes. I would just ask that you recommend, or approve as recommended, or approve as presented. Sorry, I've already left the meeting. Do y'all have any questions?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Erica. Do we have any other public comment? All right, so I'll close public comment, open it up for discussion or motion.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. 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 Any opposed? Passes 6-0. All right. And I think that's it. So next item on the agenda is the planning director's report.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of items. We do have a couple of committees that are starting to meet with developers. One that has to do with adding some zoning districts to our RS or our residential zoning districts. We currently have RS1, RS2, and RS3. RS1 is your single-family housing. RS2 is your two-family housing, which would still allow a single-family or like a duplex or something like that. RS3 is kind of a little unique where it has the townhomes and 0 lot lines. And what we're seeing is that we need to have a little bit more flexibility for some of our developers, particularly in infill areas that may need smaller lots or some different kind of square footage requirement. Our 2000s ordinance that is very kind of cookie cutter, if you will, saying, all right, everything's got to look very uniform and matched, may not work for our infill development areas. And so we're working with developers of what is reasonable, with always keeping an eye on what is protecting our traditional and historic neighborhoods and what is blending together well. The other area Mr. Gully alluded to was our land development and subdivision ordinance. We've got some areas in there that we want to do some minor cleanups. Particularly of, all right, is the smallest road required being 20 foot or is it 26 foot? How can we get that to be consistent in areas with infill and development? What makes more sense? Because usually infill areas, the housing costs are so high or the utility costs are so high. There's a reason why those are blank lots. Well, how can we find a way with our land development subdivision ordinance to help with affordability in some way? There's not a whole lot of ways, but there might be some. So we're looking at that. We're also going to be kicking off this fall our comprehensive plan update. We'll be going through a process to do a request for qualifications to find a company to help work with us over the next 12 to 18 months to get that forward. We will be making lots of different presentations, some here at this meeting, some at just public forums. We do certainly want the public's feedback so we can evaluate areas like off of 28th Street, what makes sense and where are we going as a community, where the interstates may come in and go through and how they impact our community. How are we growing to the southwest and those future roads that are out there? What can we do to project those things? And all of it with the eye of fiscal stewardship. We believe fiscal stewardship is going to be critical over the next decade for our city because we know property taxes are a challenge as well as limited. And every time we add things, that adds maintenance costs. And so we have to be very cognizant of our development of what is appropriate, and are we getting wins and losses, and are we balancing out? That's really kind of the goal. We always want different types of development. Some we're going to do really, really well on. Others we may have some losses, but do they balance out? So we're very excited about that. We thank you guys for y'all's work and dedication to this commission. So we thank you guys for working, and we know some of the decisions can be very, very difficult at times, and our role as city staff is to bring you data so that you can make the best data-driven decision for the community. So we're going to keep focusing on our data and bringing you that stuff, and we will certainly give you our professional opinions and how we see it meeting ordinances, but we certainly appreciate y'all's opinions and what really happens in reality. Because we can have theory all day long, but we also have a community that works in reality, and we've got to find ways to work in reality too. So with that, I just want to say thank you guys. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah. Got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, sorry, one more thing. Next regular meeting of the Planning Commission is scheduled to begin Monday, October 20th, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the East Mezzanine of City Hall, 72 West College Avenue, right here. So now with that, I'll take the motion to adjourn and a second, and all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.